Wait a minute. That's actually the wrong game. Hold on a second. Let me just see here. Hold on. Ah, here we go. Right, this should be a bit more appropriate. Something a little bit more festive.
'Twas a long time ago, longer now than it seems, in a place that perhaps you've seen in your dreams. For the story that you are about to be told took place in the holiday worlds of old.
The Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge was released for the PS2 and Xbox on September 30th, 2005 in the EU, with a North American release coming the following month. It's a hack-and-slash action game very similar to the classic Devil May Cry games, and since it was released between Devil May Cry 1 and Devil May Cry 3, it's sort of a meme that this game is the real Devil May Cry 2, hence the title of this video. Not to mention that the game was also developed by Capcom to top it all off. But does this game live up to that title? With Christmas on the horizon, I wanted to do a holiday-themed video, so I decided to give this game a playthrough as it was brought to my attention by my good friend Fatboy Smell a few years ago. So, I believe now it's time to play the Devil May Cry game you never knew existed. Or maybe you did, I don't know. Quick note, I'm not sure what the copyright situation is regarding the music in this game, as some of it is rather similar to the movie, so I muted it in the settings. Unfortunately, this also mutes the in-game cutscenes entirely, so I'll be talking over those, and also muting the music in this game also kind of ruins some moments in the game, but unfortunately there's not much I can do about that. I hope you enjoy the video regardless. So, interestingly enough, this game's plot was actually designed with the idea that it was a sequel to the film, as the game takes place about a year after the events of the original movie. Fun fact, the Game Boy Advance game called The Pumpkin King was released around the same time as this game in North America, in which the plot of that game was written as a prequel to the movie. So, back on track. Our story begins with Jack Skellington being bored of Halloween and wanting to come up with something new. So, we're treading familiar ground already, huh? Since this is a sequel to the film, you'd think Jack would have remembered the lesson he'd learned last time, but whatever. Wait a sec. It's only been a year. How is Jack bored again when there has only been one more Halloween since the movie? Let's just move on before I think about it too much. After Jack laments to the doctor about wanting a new Halloween, at least he's not going to try and steal Easter this time or something, he gets the Soul Robber, which is essentially one of those sticky hand toys, but bigger. He then leaves town to go find something to make Halloween better. Again, same as the film. Meanwhile, Shock, Lock and Barrel decide to resurrect Oogie Boogie while Jack is away, for some reason. I thought they only did what he said in the movie because they were afraid of him, or am I missing something here? Also, apparently all they had to do to bring him back was just sew him back together, which is both hilarious and a massive hand wave, because I'm pretty sure that not only did Oogie Sack get totally mangled, his bugs were boiled in lava, so how exactly he actually came back is a total mystery. The last thing in this rather chunky intro is that Sally sends Jack a magical paper airplane to get him to come back. Between the foresight that she had in the movie and this, they sure do love giving Sally plot forwarding abilities out of nowhere, don't they? Jack returns to Halloween Town, I guess we're just not going to mention what he did while he was gone, to find that Oogie has been revived and has taken over. Wait, hold up. How long was Jack gone? Everything I've just talked about happened in about the first 5 minutes of the game, but the cutscene pacing made it seem like Jack was only gone for like an hour tops rather than what must have been a few days at least. I've got to stop going crazy over the story of a kid's game. Jack returns to find that Halloween Town is infested with skeletons, and he has to fend them off with his giant sticky hand. Right off the bat, you can see where this game borrows from Devil May Cry. The fixed camera angles and the way the combat works is easily a simplified version of the combat from DMC 1 and 2. It feels a bit slow at the moment, but I'm sure the combat will open up more as the game progresses. Speaking of which, we jump right into a battle with Oogie. Or I guess Oogie's shadow. This is where having to mute the music really sucks, as the fact that the boss is actually singing the battle theme, as you can tell by the subtitles below, is amazing, and it's a shame that I can't show it here. I hope the music I end up replacing the boss themes in this game with is good enough. I did notice a few things in this fight as well, like how the game actually has a stylish ranking system which further solidifies the DMC connection, and this game has super moves which are song and dance numbers? Okay, for a video game adaptation of a movie musical, that's actually a genius idea. My only issue with this fight in particular is that the camera is locked onto the boss for the entire fight, with the centre of the screen always being focused on him. This made it a bit difficult to deal with the additional enemies that would spawn in, as they would be off-screen a lot of the time. And that's Chapter 1 complete. Oh wow, they even have the results screen from Devil May Cry. Before I move on to the next level, I actually checked out Jack's house, which is basically this bonus room where you can view cutscenes, music, and other neat stuff. You know, I miss when games had these kinds of rooms, they're actually pretty cool. Now, on to Chapter 2. Where I proceeded to get lost for a while, before realising I had to talk to this NPC that's mostly off camera, then go talk to some more NPCs to learn about the shop, then go back and talk to the first NPC again, beat a group of enemies, talk to another NPC to open the gate, and... wait, that's it? That's the whole level. Well, I mean, that sucks, honestly. I hope this isn't going to be a trend moving forward. Next is Chapter 3, The Hanging Tree. Hanging Tree? Well, that sounds a little morbid. Regardless, we make our way to the tree in question and find out that it talks. Apparently he's missing 5 hanging men and we need to find them.
I'm afraid that hanging men aren't very brave.
Wait, was that a suicide joke? Like, that suicide is the coward's way out? Jesus Christ, this is dark as fuck for a kid's game. Anyways, we go and find Zero, the ghost dog, to help us search for the men. However, we are interrupted by Lock, Shock, and Barrel. Lock actually challenges us to a fight, so we're gonna get a boss fight with the kids? How on earth is this gonna work? Oh, it's just a battle with regular enemies. Oh well, we thrash them with the OP grab move and we move on. We grab Zero and he leads us back towards the tree to find the first man. Hold on, I can interact with it, but it's not working. Okay, it's been 5 minutes, this is bugged somehow. Oh, I'm an idiot, never mind. Well, we quickly find all of the men after that, with next to no resistance from enemies, and we move on to the next chapter. Chapter 4 involves us going around the whole map, fixing the tombstones that cause enemies to spawn. So we're using the same map as before, finding various objectives while fighting enemies. They've just repeated the last mission again, and unfortunately this is where some of the game's problems started to rear their heads. This game has a lot of backtracking and wandering around at a snail's pace to pad out the runtime, which is obvious when certain levels are so short as well. Either a level is comically short, or a long drag of walking around, and there's no in between. So far, the only truly fun part of the game has been the boss fights, but the last boss was just a wave battle with regular enemies, so even that isn't saying much. Oh well, let's just move on to Chapter 5. Chapter 5 has us going to a large crypt where Sally is supposedly being held. On the way there we find... hold on, the paper airplane from the opening cutscene? I thought that this is what brought Jack back from his adventure in order to save the town. He just randomly came back on his own, empty-handed? Whatever, let's move on to... oh, it's Locke again? Oh wait, we're fighting now. We're actually fighting. Why didn't we do this the first time? Okay, so the battle itself is actually somewhat challenging, with Locke jumping around and making himself hard to hit while his summoned skeletons swarm you. This brings up another issue I have with this game, which is where that you have no movement while attacking, so you're completely locked in place while dealing with one enemy, and as such another can easily hit you, which is what makes this boss somewhat difficult. However, once I realised that you can just cheese the boss AI to just jump into invisible walls over and over and then yeet the little shit into other enemies for decent damage, the fight becomes a cakewalk. We defeat Locke and move on to the crypt. After a brief encounter with a coffin full of spiders, we find Sally in a suspiciously big room. In a surprise twist, we actually have 2 bosses in one level, which is weird considering we went 2 levels without any, but okay. And this one has another musical theme that I can't play for you, unfortunately.
The giant enemy spider.
This boss is interesting as you attack the main spider to split it up into smaller spiders, which then you kill to deal damage to the boss, causing it to get smaller and faster as the fight goes on. You can also do dance attacks in this fight as well for massive damage. Overall, it's actually a fun and unique fight that comes completely out of nowhere. We save Sally and the game crashes. Uh-oh. For some unknown reason, my save file corrupted here as I was recording this footage. So, in order to save myself replaying the whole game up to this point, I downloaded a save of the internet. This is why for the following footage, you'll see that I have a bit more unlocked than I should. This actually helped me get the video done on time, so yeah. On to the next chapter. Sally informs you that you have to save the Doctor and gives you a key to his lab. Thanks to the new save file, I actually now have access to 2 new transformations for Jack. Pumpkin King, which gives me fire attacks, and Santa Jack, which grants traps disguised as presents with various effects. Having access to upgrades and different fighting styles really accelerated the combat and actually made it way more fun. Having all of these new roofs really let me rack up the combos and feel stylish while doing so. Just like Devil May Cry. So we make our way to the lab, but Igor, the Doctor's assistant, is blocking the entrance, saying he won't let us in unless we give him a biscuit. We go to the shop to find that the Quartz kid from earlier bought the last one. Oh yeah, Shock turns up to stop us, but it's just the same wave battle thing from chapter 3 or 4 or whatever, so let's just move on. We ask the kid for it, but he'll only give it to us if we solve his quiz. The questions are easy.
Question 5.
You saw nothing, shut up. We get enough answers right to get the biscuit and we go back to Igor. He lets us in and it's mission complete. Chapter 7 has us disabling a generator to get past a trap that is keeping us out of the lab. We do exactly that and make our way back to the entrance. Jesus Christ! That was almost a jump scare. God, where did these guys even come from? Anyways, after that encounter, we find Shock has set up another trap, and so we need to climb up the tower while avoiding boulders, which is a painfully easy task. And it's another short mission. I swear, these missions go from taking nearly half an hour to less than 10 minutes with no rhyme or reason. Chapter 8 is just a boss fight with the Doctor, in which we rip his head open and shove his brain back inside. Okay, that's metal as fuck. In a bit more detail, the reason the Doctor has made a heel turn and set his inventions loose on the town is due to the fact that Oogie switched his brain with an evil one. Well, thank God Oogie just happened to leave the real brain right here in the same room, so we can just put it back nice and easy. This fight is really unique, and definitely subverted the expectation of just hit him until he's dead, with a new and interesting approach to a boss fight, even if getting the brain in the right place was a bit finicky at times. We end up actually unlocking Santa Jack for real after this mission, and get ready to go after Oogie Boogie and save everyone. Wait, it's Christmas Eve? Jack was gone for 2 months and we got told nothing about what he did during that time? I've said it already, but the game's intro did not properly convey this at all, god damn it. Chapter 9 begins with a long backtrack back down the doctor's lab and into town, after we make it to the pumpkin patch where, holy shit, yeah, this game has these trap enemies that are near impossible to avoid, as you can't attack them unless they come out of the trap, which is invincible. Let's just say, I don't like these guys. We meet a guy with an axe to grind called Behemoth, no, not that one, who is worried about his pumpkin patch being destroyed and eaten by Oogie's minions, and we have to pass through it to progress. Oogie has come to make an announcement over the loudspeaker, which is also sadly muted, and we wait for him to finish before moving on. We beat some enemies, swing over some water, and god damn it, that's it? Next chapter, I guess. Chapter 10 is called Barrel's Maze, which is an absolute bullshit title, as it's less of a maze rather than just a straight path with switches to press.
Bear, seek, lest.
However, this level does introduce an enemy that attacks you by sticking his head into a guillotine and launching his severed head at you. You know, for a kids game, they really don't shy away from the horror stuff. Good thing that this is on the PS2, or this game might have had a higher age rating. Unfortunately, this is the only interesting thing in this level, as it ends kinda randomly just as we approach this giant pumpkin. Chapter 11 is another boss level, with the exception that you have to fight a few waves of enemies to get through first. Also, since I didn't have the music on when recording this, the inside of the giant pumpkin has this really ominous and loud heartbeat in the background the whole time. I'm glad to know that the enemies in this level are slowly eating away at the insides of a living creature. Why the hell is this game so dark? Whatever, boss time. And it's Barrel who squares up. It's basically a reskin of the lock fight from earlier, but with some new attacks. The only one of note really being Barrel going absolutely ballistic with his slingshot? Why can't I read? He goes down fairly easily and we move on to the next chapter. Chapter 12 begins with backtracking once again. This is starting to get very old, very quickly. We make it back to town and head for the residential district as we now have the key to unlock it. I actually really like this part of the map as it shows us where all the monsters from town actually live, and the buildings are all crowded and weirdly shaped to give off a neat vibe. Alright, that's the positives out of the way because this mission is fucking dumb. It's all backtracking. Backtrack to town, go to a new area for 3 seconds, backtrack all the way to the top of the doctor's lab, backtrack back to the new area, complete the objective with the item you got, mission complete. I feel like I'm being overly critical of a kids game here, but it is such a slog to get through these levels when it is just only walking around. If you think I'm skipping talking about combat, I'm not. There are no enemies around in this level. Not that it matters, as you can just walk past 99% of the encounters in this game with no consequences. Let's just move on. We save the clown from his out-of-control unicycle and he unlocks the gate for us. What? Why does this guy have access to everywhere? Even people's homes? What are you hiding, you creepy bastard? Chapter 13. Chapter fucking 13. This is by far the most annoying mission in this game. You need to go around the area saving the 4 vampire brothers, who have been forcibly trapped in their bat forms and are scattered around the level. This doesn't sound so bad, and for 2 of them, you'd be right. The first one is right outside the starting area, which you just grab, and the last one is just at the end of the level. But the second and third ones, let's just say this video almost didn't exist. The second one is flying above this acid pit, in which you need to swing across to reach him. However, you use the triangle button to both grab and swing, so if you aren't positioned perfectly, you would just swing instead of grab. So just wait until the bat flies towards you, I hear you say. Well, guess what? You can't. If the bat sees you, it flies away, so you just have to chase it. Also, if you happen to accidentally swing at the wrong time, a giant flapjacking fish skeleton knocks you down and you have to climb back up. Also, Jack has this stupid dumbass slide, which makes you stop about a second after you intend to, as if he was freaking Luigi or something, which just causes you to fall, and it sucks, and The third bat isn't as bad, but it flies over these really large pits and you just have to wait a bunch for it to come close, but then it runs away because its range of vision is just outside of your grab range. And this mission took me over half an hour of just running around trying to grab bats to complete it. And that's it, that's the whole mission. Ugh. You know, I really do hope I get to say some good things about this game soon. Chapter 14 has us going to the mayor's house as the vampire gave us the key. We use it to enter the house where the mayor is, and as you guessed it, it's a tall tower, and he is at the top. This one isn't as bad, and the aesthetics are nice, but it does have these pitfalls that'll catch you more than once and cause you to sigh with mild annoyance. After rescuing the mayor, Jack tells him to get to safety before heading off to the roof to face Shock, Lock, and Barrel.
Over here! This way!
Chapter 15 is just that. A boss battle with the Terrible Trio. This one has two phases, the first being all three kids in their bathtub, in which you have to lob bombs and traps at them. Once the tub is taken care of, the second phase begins and it's pure chaos. You face all three of the kids at once, which means you have to deal with three previous bosses at the same time. And these kids are ruthless, letting all of their attacks fly with almost no breathing room. All that said, it is actually a fun boss, with the menacing shadow of Oogie Boogie hanging over the moon in the background. It's actually an awesome fight, and with bosses like these, I can see why this game is remembered so fondly by those who played it. After the battle, the kids trick Jack by using some sort of physics-defying trapdoor and send him down into Oogie's lair. Chapter 16 consists of platforming puzzles in Bowser's castle, in which if you fall into the lava, you have to start from the very beginning. No checkpoints here, folks. This wasn't too bad overall, but there are a lot of areas where a lack of proper depth perception will trip you up a few times. There are also a lot of secret areas around here, but I didn't bother with them for the sake of completing this video in time. Overall, it's a pretty inoffensive platforming level in the first half. About halfway through, you find the prison where Oogie is keeping the other Holiday Kings, which we don't actually get to see as they're all tied up in bags. A shame, but whatever. We also have a rematch with the spider boss from earlier. A reoccurring spider boss? The rest of the level is more platforming until you reach an ominous looking door at the end to complete the chapter. Chapter 17 is, as you may have predicted, a boss level, this time with a suspiciously green looking Oogie Boogie. It's time to throw down in the casino, and this is why I love Oogie. They made him a gambler in the movie for like no reason at all, but it makes his character so much fun and gives us cool boss arenas like this one and the one in Kingdom Hearts. This fight is neat as well, as there's multiple ways to damage Boogie. You can throw bombs at him. You can have him swallow those bombs to stun him so you can wail on him. You can attack his turrets so they fire on him instead, and this is all while fighting on a constantly spinning roulette table just to keep you on your toes. It's a cool, unique fight to end the game on. Gotcha. This is actually just his shadow. Okay, whatever. The real Oogie is actually hiding in Christmas Town, of which you need to find the door, get there, and help out Sandy Claus. Chapter 18 has Jack return to Halloween Town without us needing to backtrack, thank God, and he tells the mayor to go and rescue the Holiday Kings while he and Zero go to find the key to Spiral Hill and the hinterlands beyond. We do just that, basically repeating our actions from Chapter 3, which leads us to the gravestones where Sally gets the nightshade she uses to poison the Doctor in the movie. Nice reference. We get the key and head to Spiral Hill, in which Oogie has locked the device used to extend the hill so we can reach the hinterlands. In a clever twist, we actually need to use the holiday doors to unlock the device, but that means we have to leave them there despite the fact that we actually need to return them to the hinterlands. We place the doors in their slots and find Sally on the hill, who has come to warn Jack that he may not survive this time. They share a nice song about making things right on the hill in a scene that mirrors the movie before completing the chapter.
I love you, bitch. Oh my God. I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
Chapter 19 is all about exploring the hinterlands to find the holiday trees, and let me just say, this area looks amazing. It almost looks hand-drawn, like a sketch. This is such a unique area, and it kind of reminded me in the movie in terms of how stylistic it is. It's a nice break from the Halloween aesthetic that makes up the rest of the game. Also, this level is more of a maze than the actual maze level, as it's not made clear where to go at the start, starting by finding the Independence Day and St. Patrick's Day trees, which are the only doors not needed for the device earlier, and returning them. What would even be behind an Independence Day door? Independence Town? I imagine it's just a bunch of rednecks drinking beer and shooting guns. Now that's a sequel to the movie I want to see. Jack goes to, I don't know, Ohio or something. With 2 doors returned, you now need to find the other trees. But we don't have the doors anymore, so what do? Well, Oogie replaced the real holiday doors with his own fake ones, in which we take all 4 remaining fake doors out of the trees instead of destroying them to replace the real doors we used for the device. We head back to the device, and that's the level. These levels end in the most anticlimactic way sometimes. Chapter 20 is a boss level, in which 2 bosses that are just reskins of regular enemies show up out of nowhere. And guess what? They have the Christmas door, the most important plot device in the game, just handed to us on a platter by a completely forgettable boss fight. These guys don't even have boss HP bars, for crying out loud. This is honestly the biggest disappointment in the game for me, as I thought obtaining the Christmas door would be a way more special occasion, especially since Oogie hinted that it was hidden behind something nasty, quote unquote. It's a real shame. You know what, this is off script. You know how I would have done it? I would have had like the Christmas door maybe already be in its place, like in the tree, in which Jack gets sucked inside, same as the movie. But then, only for it to be revealed as a fake door in disguise, like afterwards, in which we fall into maybe like a fake Christmas town, and Jack has to fight maybe like a shadow version of himself wearing the Santa costume, so like Santa Jack, in which the fight maybe could be like the boss utilizing Jack's moveset to make it interesting, and then you get the real door from that fight. Like, it wouldn't even be that hard to make, because you could just reuse the player model in the animations. Like, it would be super simple. Never mind, that's just a thought. Let's move on to the next chapter. With the remaining doors in hand, we move on to chapter 21, which is basically the same mission as 19, only we return the doors instead of taking them. The only addition being the Christmas door, in which Jack just gets sucked in like the movie. There aren't even any new combat encounters like chapter 19, it's just backtracking. I'm not going to dwell on it, let's just keep moving. Chapter 22 takes place in Christmas Town, in which we have to restore the giant Christmas tree by finding the decorations around town, one of which is inside an evil carousel, easy stuff. Another is hidden inside a house that is unlocked by lighting 3 torches by using Pumpkin King's firebomb. another easy one. Another 2 can be found by riding a train to get on the rooftops, which was annoying to get the timing down, but it wasn't actually that bad. But the last decoration is a real fucker. It's hidden inside a random tree in the town, in which all of the others have bombs in them. Not to mention the specific tree the decoration was hidden in is obscured by a house due to the fixed camera angle. It took a while to find, let me tell you. But after finding them all, it's level complete. Chapter 23 is another boss chapter, kinda. A train is heading towards a rope that is keeping Santa suspended high above the ground. If the train cuts the rope, Santa falls. You need to manage which track the train is on to keep it away from the rope as enemies attack you. You also have to damage the train itself until it's destroyed. This level is weird as it's perfectly inoffensive in terms of being a battle/puzzle level with a mini-boss, but it also feels completely unnecessary as it's not that challenging. Even without my overpowered save file, the only thing that would change is how many hits it would take to destroy the train. Oh well, we beat it and move on. The following cutscene is actually pretty cool. Oogie steals Santa's sleigh, so in order to chase it, Sally brings Jack's coffin sleigh from the movie to chase it down. Also, Jack has an elf sneak a trap present into Oogie's sleigh to make him fall off mid-flight. It's a cool combination of using movie callbacks and actual game mechanics as plot devices to set up the final battle. I actually quite like it. Speaking of which, Chapter 24 is just that, the final boss. Oogie falls off the sleigh and into a junkyard filled with all the things he stole from the other holiday worlds. In a fit of rage, he calls thousands of bugs to him, absorbing both them and the surrounding area to become Seven Holidays King Oogie Boogie, a towering version of himself that incorporates scrap metal and various holiday iconography into his design. It's really freaking awesome, and so is the arena. Having both the final boss and the arena use elements from both the game and the source material's plot to create a new, menacing take on a classic character is just cool as hell. It's a shame the boss itself isn't much of a threat. He just kinda bumbles around the arena while you light gas on fire as he gets close. That doesn't stop this from being cool, though. Now, the second phase is something else entirely.
Let's dance!
It's payback time!
Is that all you got to say?
With it being one large dance number in which Jack uses all of his attacks and forms to defeat Oogie as they basically have a rap battle. Oogie has even taken on a new form, being even bigger and absorbing so much that he's become one with the land itself, which I wish I could let you hear the actual music play, so I encourage you to check out the fight for yourself, at least if you're not going to play this game. Like, the final showdown culminates everything that makes this game what it is. The action, the music, the characters, all of it. The fact that the developers went this hard on a movie tie-in game is awesome. And that's it. With Oogie Boogie dead once again, both Christmas and Halloween are saved. Santa manages to deliver the presents in time, and Jack has a tender moment with Sally atop the spiral tree in a scene that's basically ripped from the movie. But you know what? I'll let that one slide. And that was The Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge. If I had to sum it up, it's a flawed but fun experience. If you're a fan of the classic Devil May Cry games, then you owe it to yourself to check this out. But it is unfortunately filled with awkward and boring padding in the form of backtracking. As far as the plot goes, it's got some holes, but overall it's a nice bit of fan service for those who have seen the film. Did I enjoy my time with this game? Despite my frustrations, yeah, that finale was more than worth it. And I will look back on this game fondly, even if I don't plan to play it ever again. Again, I'm awful at these outro things. This is off script again, but yeah, I think I'll just... That's my alarm going off. You know what? That's it. That's a perfect way to end it. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.